Coming up on Citrus TV News, record heat for the season in Syracuse. Why is it so hot, and why are students worried about the heat?
Republicans reveal their new tax plan. It's been described as the biggest change to the tax code in modern history. We have political analyst Galat Malamed here to explain how it affects you.
And a big change to Twitter. Find out why the social media site is about to get twice as busy. This is Citrus TV News.
Hi, I'm Elijah Shama. Our top story tonight, some breaking news. President Trump is lowering the amount of refugees the U.S. will let in.
And I'm Colleen Callandar. The new cap is 45,000, less than half of what former President Obama set. Trump said he lowered the cap because the U.S. was spending too much money resettling refugees. Get ready for a night of laughs. Last night, University Union announced performers TJ Miller and the Lucas Brothers will be performing in about a week. Student tickets are on sale for $5 at the box office. TJ Miller and the Lucas Brothers are performing on Saturday, October 7th in Goldstein Auditorium. Doors will open at 7:15 and the show will begin at 8. The Syracuse Drama Department will perform Crazy for You at the SU stage next month. It's a story of romance and love for the theater. Director and choreographer Brian Markham is an assistant professor in the drama department and a former Broadway dancer. The play will open next Saturday. Tickets are available now online and at the box office.
A former Syracuse student is suing the university after claims of SU favoring female students. The student was expelled after being charged with sexual assault. The lawsuit criticizes the way colleges handles cases involving drunken sexual encounters. SU defended its protocols for investigating these cases. SU plans to throw it out because the student did not file within 4 months after his expulsion. A high school student is suing the Syracuse Police Department after a school officer put him in a chokehold. A 14-year-old from Corcoran High School claims police officers tackled him to the ground and choked him. He says that he was walking near a fight when 2 police officials arrived. One of the officers grabbed him as he attempted to pass. The child's lawyer says the officer was unprovoked and used excessive force. The student was accused of resisting arrest and obstructing police.
The village of Whitesboro is changing their town seal after accusations of racism. The village's original seal depicted the town's founder, Hugh White, strangling a Native American man. Local officials hired an artist to change the logo to instead show the founder and a Native man wrestling. There have been efforts to change the seal since the 1970s. Fort Drum is investigating a soldier for a series of tweets supporting communism. Lieutenant Spencer Rapone tweeted out a series of pictures of him wearing pro-communist messages and images under his uniform. The 10th Mountain Division said the Army encourages soldiers in exercising their right to free speech, but Rapone violated the uniform policy. There has been no word on what punishment could be handed down.
It is one of the hottest Septembers in Syracuse on record. Citrus TV reporter David Edelstein went out on campus to get the thoughts on the heat.
Outside today, it is hot.
I'm ready for it to cool down a little bit.
And it's definitely hotter than in the past.
It seems like it's too hot. I feel like this time last year I was already wearing like hoodies and jeans.
Today's high of 90 degrees is 22 degrees above normal. And there was not a single 90-degree day this summer in Syracuse. Today is the hottest September 27th ever in Syracuse history, breaking the 1929 record of 83 degrees. And this recent heat wave is causing some confusion.
It's been quite the experience. It should be fall, but it's summer.
And putting any confusion to the side, there is also some concern about the weather.
This weather is absolutely absurd. It is completely unexpected, and it kind of scares me a little bit. The unexpected change and the ups and downs are unnormal, so it leads me to believe that things aren't the way they should be.
Definitely, I'm a little concerned considering that last year at this time, I'm pretty sure it was already, pretty low as compared to what it is now.
The National Weather Service says temperatures will drop tomorrow, returning to a typical 65 degrees for this time of year. David Edelstein, Citrus TV News.
And speaking of the weather, we have Nicole Weaving talking about what's been happening with the weather. Nicole?
Thursday may have been the last day of summer, but today is the last day that we will be feeling this summer heat. It's currently 90 degrees outside, but with 38% humidity, feels closer to 92. There is a light breeze, which is definitely helping people cool down until the sun sets tonight. Now, speaking of tonight, it'll be a low of 55 degrees. Some light showers will be moving in around 8 p.m., but they should be gone by 10 p.m., so the rest will be a clear night. Now, the rest of the week into the weekend has temperatures in the low 60s, quite a change from right now. I'll have more for you on my full weather forecast.
Coming up after the break, the results from the Kurdish independence vote in Iraq.
And political expert Galat Malamed is here to talk about the new Republican proposed tax plan. Stick around.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day I found out I have something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
What are you, superheroes?
Just four brothers who hate bullies and love this city.
Gear up, guys.
Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
You're watching CitrusTV News with Colleen Callandar, Elijah Shama, and Nicole Weaving with weather. CitrusTV News continues now.
Iraq's Kurdish people have voted for independence. The unofficial vote had nearly 70% turnout, with more than 90% in favor of a Kurdish state.
Even with this overwhelming vote, the chance of independence for the Kurds remains slim. Iraq and the rest of the international community oppose this. The Iraqi Prime Minister has been given the mandate to deploy troops throughout the Kurdish region.
The Secretary of Defense flew into Afghanistan as rocket strikes hit their capital.
Rockets were fired near the airport shortly after Secretary Mattis arrived. He's there to meet with the President of Afghanistan and a NATO chief to discuss military resources. Both the Taliban and the Islamic State claimed responsibility for the attack, saying they were attempting to hit Mattis.
Last month, President Donald Trump announced that the U.S. would deploy more troops in Afghanistan to combat Taliban forces.
The Iranian government lied about testing a new ballistic missile. The Iranian state-run news released footage testing a new missile revealed during a military parade in Tehran.
President Trump condemned Iran's development as a nuclear program on Twitter. However, it appears the broadcast was actually from a failed missile test in January.
The former Prime Minister of Thailand has been sentenced to 5 years in prison. She was convicted of criminal negligence for her involvement in a rice subsidy scheme.
She failed to attend her court hearing late August. She is rumored to have fled the country to escape conviction. The government is still unaware of her location.
Eye candy is how the chair of the Republican Study Committee described women in the group yesterday. Representative Mark Walker made the comment during a press conference.
Walker responded to backlash about the comment by calling it a flippant remark that was meant to be lighthearted but fell short. He also said he was proud of the women who serve on the RSC.
A bit of an upset out of Alabama last night. Former Alabama Supreme Court Justice Roy Moore defeated incumbent Senator Luther Strange by 9 points.
Strange was both the incumbent and backed by President Trump, but was consistently down in the polls to Moore. Moore was an outsider, but had the support of far-right conservatives like Steve Bannon. Strange was the first Republican senator to lose a primary in 5 years.
Last night, seemingly upset at the loss, Trump deleted all his tweets supporting Strange.
The U.S. will not waive shipping restrictions for relief items for Puerto Rico.
The Trump administration denied a request from several members of Congress to waive shipping restrictions to help get gas and other supplies to Hurricane Maria victims.
The DHS says that waiving the act for Puerto Rico would not help the U.S. territory because of damaged ports that are preventing ships from docking. But the act was waived following Hurricanes Harvey and Irma.
Republicans have finally unveiled their new tax plan, and it's a big one. The bill is being called the biggest change to the tax code in recent years.
CitrusTV political analyst Galat Malamed is here to explain to us how this bill could affect you come April. So, Galat, let's just start with the basic.
Yeah.
What is this bill? What's it all about?
Yeah, so there's two big parts. There's, the individual taxpayers and corporate taxpayers. So on the individual end, it's getting a lot more simpler. Instead of 7 tax rates, they're lowering it down to 3 tax rates. So you have 12%, 25%, and 35%. So what they did actually was raise the lowest tax rate, because it used to be 10%, and they lowered the highest tax rate, which used to be 39.6%. Then on the corporate side, the big thing you want to look at is they decreased corporate taxes from 35% to 20%. So as you can hear, that's a huge drop. And the reason why they did this is to expand businesses, expand jobs, and to make us more competitive on the global level, because the corporate tax average for Western nations is 22.5%. So they wanted us to fall in line with the other countries more so than we are now.
Okay.
Like you said, those are some big cuts. So who's going to pay for it? How are they going to pay for it?
Right, well, one of the things they're saying is that they want to make up for it by eliminating some of the tax breaks. So we have a bunch of tax breaks in place now that are preventing people from paying taxes. So they're saying, well, if we're lowering the rate you're taxed at, we might need to get rid of some of those tax breaks. They haven't come out yet with what specific tax breaks they want to get rid of. Something interesting, just to put it into perspective, the Tax Policy Center said that if you wanted to not raise the deficit but also lower taxes, the sweet spot would be lowering the corporate tax rate to 26%, but you would have to get rid of every single tax break to not raise the deficit by doing so.
Wow. But when we look at this, Republicans have hit some crossroads in the past trying to get health care through. What are the odds that this bill makes it through?
Tax is usually regarded as less of a partisan area than a lot of other things like health care, travel ban, a lot of other things that have caused commotion in Congress. But Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer have voiced very strong opposition to this. Schumer even dubbed it the welfare bill, saying, this is a billion taxpayers plan. But there are some moderate Democrats who we can see maybe voting yes on this, especially ones who are more focused on expanding businesses. And one of the things that's in this tax plan is that they might be able to add the 4th tax bracket. So right now there's only 3, but they said they wouldn't be opposed to adding a 4th one. So maybe if they can get some higher taxes there from some of the wealthiest people, you might be able to get some more Democrats on board.
All right, thank you. Galat, great stuff. So,
from the Citrus TV Weather Center, this is SU's most accurate weather forecast.
So as I mentioned in my first weather, we have some warm temperatures now, but tonight we can expect some lower temperatures around 55, and some light showers moving in around 8 o'clock, but they should be gone by 10. Now, if we take a look at the rest of central New York, Penn is at 89, same with Ithaca, Cortland is at 86, and you see Syracuse on the hotter end at 90. Now, when you're planning for tomorrow, as I mentioned, the temperatures are going to drop into the low 60s. So when you wake up in the morning, it'll be about 58, but by noon should be over to around 60. The high tomorrow is 62. We also see a partly cloudy day and some winds at about 10 to 15 miles per hour. So definitely going to have some colder temperatures tomorrow as well. Now, as we look at our 5-day forecast, this looks about more accurate temperature-wise for what we'd expect for the end of September. Tomorrow will be a high of 62, a low of 44. Then we'll see some rain move in towards the afternoon of Friday into the morning of Saturday. Those temperatures also in the low 60s, the mid 60s with a lot of sun on Sunday. And Monday, even warmer temperatures. Next week should be into the 70s, a little bit warmer, but still not as hot as it currently is right now.
So you mentioned there were some nightly showers moving in. How long are those going to last?
So we'll see them move in around 8 o'clock, but they should be gone by 10, so you don't have to worry about completely bringing out your umbrellas and raincoats and everything. You should only be there for about 2 hours.
All right, thank you. Coming up after the break, a big change is coming to Twitter.
And ice in Las Vegas will show you how that happened after the break.
We're still doing this live shot, right? Oh, okay.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise. And be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
Got a quarter?
If you see
Your driver may not be a driver at all. That's because Ford is working with Lyft to use self-driving cars on their ride-sharing app. Ford will initially offer human-driven cars on Lyft's network, but plans to make the self-driving vehicles available after they're sure the technology works. The announcement comes just 1 week before Ford's CEO will unveil his strategy for transforming the automaker. And STDs are on the rise. The CDC says 2016 saw the highest number of STDs on record. This past year, Americans were infected with more than 2 million cases of gonorrhea, syphilis, and chlamydia. Officials say this increase might be caused by cuts in education and healthcare programs, as well as dating apps like Tinder.
2 Game of Thrones stars are taking their on-air romance off screen. Actors Kim Harington and Rose Leslie are engaged. Leslie, who played Ygritte, left the HBO show in 2014, and Harington still plays Jon Snow on the series. The couple first confirmed their romance with a red carpet appearance in 2016, but people have speculated their romance since 2012. Their families posted an official engagement announcement in the Times of London yesterday. And Twitter has announced they have doubled their character limit. The company says this is to accommodate for the 9% of English tweets that hit the 140 character limit. The new update has been rolled out to only a few users on a trial basis. The company has not said if they plan to extend this character limit to the rest of their users.
Vegas finally has a sports team, and last night they came home for the first time.
The Las Vegas Golden Knights played their first preseason game at home yesterday. It was a sellout at the arena. And while the Knights didn't get the win, the crowd loved their new hockey team.
This is the first Big Four sports team in Vegas, but it won't be the only one for long. The Raiders NFL team is moving there in the next few years.
Coming up in sports, I'll break down the latest in the NCAA's bribery and fraud scandal. Who's in trouble, who's not, that and more on the other side. Stay tuned.
Pre-diabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good? What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
Come on, it's not that hard.
My big man fingers are having a problem with these little tiny buttons.
Whoa, watch it there. Your blood pressure's gonna go through the roof.
Tell me about it. I'm trying to learn how to get it down. Instead, it keeps going up.
High blood pressure can increase the risk for heart attack or stroke. Learn how to keep yours at a healthy range.
Ever hear a voice command? Just say text barbershop to 97779.
That's not what I said.
Just give me that. Now my blood pressure's up.
Here's your check. Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. Got it. No.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early. You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
If you play with fire, you eventually get burned. Just ask the Louisville basketball program. Just 3 months after being punished for its prostitute scandal, the Cardinals are one of the major offenders in the NCAA's bribery and fraud case. This afternoon, interim Louisville president Greg Postal placed both Hall of Fame head coach Rick Pitino and athletic director Tom Jurich on administrative leave. While it's not quite in writing yet, Pitino's lawyer Steve Pence told the Louisville Courier-Journal that his client has effectively been fired. The head coach won a title with the Cardinals back in 2013. Coupled with a pair of Final Four appearances, but the punishments don't end with Pitino for the program. Louisville's top 2017 recruit Brian Bowen is suspended from all NCAA activities. Bowen was the centerpiece of the corruption allegations against the Cardinals. But it gets even worse. About an hour after the press conference, Louisville lost both of its commits in the class of 2018. Five-star guard Anfernee Simons and four-star guard Courtney Ramey both decommitted shortly after the news of Pitino's leave became official. Well, unlike Brian Bowen and Rick Pitino, Syracuse basketball gets back to work this week. The Orange returns just one starter this season in sophomore Tyus Battle. But there are plenty of fresh faces to look for on Jim Boeheim's roster. Grad transfer Geno Thorpe brings his 15-point average from the sunshine to the snowbanks. The South Florida transfer was in the top 10 in the American Athletic Conference in scoring last season. Along with Thorpe comes this year's freshman class featuring forwards O'Shea Brissett and Merrick Dolezaj, as well as redshirt freshman Matthew Moyer. SU opens its season against Cornell on November 10th. In football, SU quarterback Eric Dungy is used to running around by now. The junior is the team's leading rusher this season. However, come this Saturday against NC State, Dungy may be running for his life instead of yards, all thanks to an imposing Wolfpack defense.
That front seven is probably one of the best front sevens we're going to go against. Bradley Chubb, he's a beast, so he's probably a future first-round draft pick. So really got to bring our A game, and the guys around him makes him a lot better as well. They do their job, and the back end holds up as well. They got real athletic guys back there, so they make it real tough, as Florida State learned.
As for off-the-field news, Orange defensive back Jordan Martin found himself on a national watch list today. The grad transfer is up for the William V. Campbell Trophy, also known as the Academic Heisman. Martin is the second Orange placed on an award watch list this week. Yesterday, wideout Steve Ishmael was put up for the Bolitnikoff Award, given to the nation's top receiver. Elsewhere, a former SU receiver is getting an opportunity with the Bills. Buffalo hosted Amba Edetawo for a tryout this week, along with 5 other players. After his record-breaking season at Syracuse in 2016, the All-American was briefly with the Jaguars practice squad after going undrafted. If Edetawo latches on, he would be tasked with bolstering a Bills offense that is 4th to last in passing offense. Well, for the first time in more than a decade, the number 22 won't be on the back of an SU lacrosse player, at least for the time being. After senior Jordan Evans graduated last season, no Orange player is slated to sport the legendary number this year. However, head coach John Desko wouldn't rule out someone earning the deuces for the upcoming year. Before Evans, the number 22 was worn by the likes of JoJo Marasco, the Powells, and Gary Gate. Satellite TV giant DirecTV is making a move to counter national anthem protests. The company is offering a refund for its popular NFL Sunday ticket package if they want to end their subscriptions because of the pre-game demonstrations. DirecTV usually does not allow its customers to downgrade or cancel their Sunday ticket subscription once the NFL season starts, but is making an exception in this case.
All right, so Tyler, turning to something that's kind of near and dear to my heart in sports chat. The Miami Marlins have been bought by Derek Jeter. How's this going to kind of affect the team going forward?
Well, it's already kind of an unpopular move. When Jeter came in, he made a motion to fire pretty much everyone involved with the organization, and that includes Mr. Marlin, Jeff Conine, who was really a big part of that team. He won a couple World Series with the Marlins, so that's an unpopular move. So Jeter not already on the right foot with Marlins fans.
All right, well, we'll see how that goes. But kind of switching gears with Louisville, how is this going to affect their performance in kind of basketball games going forward?
Well, it's a huge blow, and it comes solely from recruiting because Rick Pitino was a masterful recruiter, whether he was doing it legally or illegally, but he was getting guys to come to Louisville and play for the Cardinals, and he won a championship there as well, and now you're seeing a lot of those guys draw back.
All right, well, Tyler, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to be right back.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day I found out I have something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day I found out I have something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
So Nicole, what should I wear tomorrow?
Well, even though the temperatures are definitely going to be down from today, I wouldn't say that you necessarily have to already break out those sweatshirts. Definitely should still be able to wear some short sleeve shirts probably, but you may need long pants if you definitely get colder easily.
Thank you, I would definitely do that. And finally, the Trump administration has been looking for voter fraud since the election, but it turns out it was right under their noses the whole time.
Senior advisor and Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, is actually registered to vote as a woman. Kushner's voter info shows him registered as a female here in New York. The White House hasn't yet commented yet, but I think we can say that this was just a mistake, and he's actually not a woman.
That's all we have for today. For more, follow us on Twitter at CitrusTV News or go online to citrustv.com. For Citrus TV, I'm Colleen Callandar.
And I'm Elijah Shama. Have a great night, Syracuse.